He was just doing really good in a tournament just a few days ago. And in the bottom right-hand side for Rebellion and Goat and the Gang, it is Lambo King.
And his opponent in the top left side, he is the master of Team Liquid. Unfortunately, he is in the wrong colors. Yes, I was about to mention that. It is Clem. And it is what it is. We're going to have to play blue. A blue pig is kind of bizarre, man. I like pink pigs. I like nice domesticated ones. Sometimes there'll be like a feral pig or like a wild boar. It's kind of like brown and mottled in all sorts of colors. But blue, a little uncomfortable with it, but we're going to allow it. We're going to say he's representing Team Liquid for this
blue pigs are usually dead, basically, right? Like that's the color they turn when they die, I think.
Yeah, I think there's got to be some serious like bacteria and stuff going on in there for it to turn blue, yeah.
Well, that sounds awful. And yeah, Lambo is going to be taking his natural expansion, gas, pool, pretty standard stuff, nothing out of the ordinary. How did you honestly like the matchups here, like against Goat and the Gang?
I mean, I think they're all right. I think it's, I think it was kind of a toss-up to see where the players went and that sort of thing. I feel like pretty much every matchup I got, your team included, it was like, I was like, oh, this is awesome for me. Oh, that's good for him. Well, this one's pretty good for me. This one's 50-50. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. This map definitely favored in my direction for sure. Yep. So I think this one's a good way to start the series. And definitely, jokes aside, obviously I'm happy to not have Pride of Altaris, man. It's going to be, something where, I mean, I probably would have just had a laser facing off against one of your Zergs on that map. And I don't know. Would have known, I don't want to watch CBZ on Pride, man. Yeah. This is more fun.
But yeah, I mean, Lambo did 2-0 laser recently, so, that would have actually been pretty good for us. Like I said, he had a really good run, even taking Hero Marine as well. Yeah, he's doing well, so we'll see. But Clem can be the kryptonite of Lambo, especially stylistically. He is the type of player that usually struggles against top Korean Terrans and Clem, right? Like, just because their multitasking, I guess, is insane, is what I would guess, because I don't see much other distinction between Korean Terrans and foreigners.
For our peasant FPS gamer fans out there in the chat watching, it's basically, you're holding the angle and he just comes around and shoots you in the head first anyway, because he's just that fast and good. So it doesn't matter that he's kind of taking the slightly disadvantaged fight. He'll win little situations and little micro fights that he shouldn't really win. But that is just how it is. I like the fact that he blocked the third and forced Lambo to take this linear third base, because we know these EU Zergs on this map love to take the third and the fourth on the bottom and get that high ground and that watchtower and that creep really focused on that area of the map, because it's such a small map. And the thing is, where do you take your fourth now? Because the top right corner is so far away. But if you take this fourth below, well, if Clem gets the high ground above that fourth with tanks up there, it's a nightmare for Zerg. It's often game over if Terran can ever secure that position.
Yeah, those are very good points. That's a good start indeed for Clem. And I kind of wanna see Lambo continue to expand vertically now, but we'll see what he decides to do. I mean, it's definitely awkward to continue to do that. So the Queens have done a very good job of zoning here. They are allowing for the creep to continue to push on forward. Link speed is almost done. We still have 3 workers in gas for Lambo. And Clem is going for Cloak Banshee.
Interesting to see where it goes from here, as Cloak Banshee after third CC is a much lower commitment, right? I really find it's totally fine. Normally a bit of a waste of a commitment, but man, only 4 Zerglings out. 10 are on the way, but they're not here. Great Evo block from Lambo, though. That's a very good Evo block.
Yeah. I love that he pulls back the Zerglings as well. The Queen is in a good position there to block as well for the entrance into the main. Ooh. And Lambo is going to lose 5 workers, but for 4 Hellions and the Reaper, it looks like a pretty good trade.
Yeah, I think that's acceptable for both sides, just because there is mining time. It is early damage, but giving up map control does suck. Of course, he's got 4 more Hellions and the Banshee coming out for the next wave. Spores have to go down pretty early. All of this does keep Lambo's economy pretty small. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, you need a lair, you need overseers, you need spores. Banshee's going to grab 1 or 2 drones even before things really get started. I don't mind this situation for Clem. But the thing is, if Lambo takes advantage of the lack in pressure to spread creep like perfectly in the next 1 minute without really missing any spread timings, that's where he gets ahead.
Yeah, because like you said, map control has been kind of forgone on the side of Clem. Now he has 4 Hellions, but that's not going to be too easily able to contest against Zerglings if they get surrounded for a second right on the edge of creep. They will fall very quickly. And you know, you say you like the Banshee poking in. I'm not sure that I do. I mean, it gets 1 drone for its troubles, but it also reveals or confirms that it is Banshee, and now Lambo will have to be more careful with his positioning. And there is a Spora at each base already, and the Banshees will cross through the middle cloaked here, looking for something in the main. Already 2 queens in position there.
Yeah, Lambo's been really quick with his responses. A very tight early game, and man, I feel like Lambo's kryptonite in important matches is like 4 Hellion dives killing 14 workers and stuff like that.
No!
You know what? Only 6, 7. It could have been worse.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Could have been worse, like you said, but you're also right? And he does have an Overlord, but it's not perhaps forward enough. That Watchtower would have done wonders for him.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, this is the power of also distracting with the Banshees and pulling the attention of the player, right? Like, that's a limited resource as well. But all in all, I mean, this is a pretty even game still.
I think Lambo's actually pretty ahead. It's like just looking at the drone count, man. Because like, unless this double drop can trade well, which it can't because there's so many Lings and Banes on the way. I mean, the upgrades are ahead for Clem. But just in terms of that work account being established,
the creep.
Yeah, the creep. It's not a great position. Both command center and second factory go down though. So Clem is saying, hey, I'm happy to play a long game. Because he's building tanks though, I think this is something that, you know, he loves his tank style at the moment. Clem with tanks is not as scary for a guy like Lambo as Clem with Widow Mines. Clem with Widow Mines is someone you need to be able to play at their pace. And I think that's where Lambo's going to struggle. So playing straight tanks, not great. Now the Widow Mines do start up. That makes me very happy. The Widow Mines are going to give Lambo a lot of trouble as this game goes on.
Yeah, at the same time, I mean, the tanks could take a better position here in this area that you've been mentioning. And we see the Marines camping here for Clem, looking to kind of constrain that creep spread as Lambo tries to break out. And he will be successful for the time being. But yeah, where do you find it went so wrong then for Clem? You've been saying like, oh, I like it, and then it's like, I agree.
I just think, I don't know, man. I just think that creep's getting a bit too far on that north side of the map, and because he's just sitting back, we're kind of going to late game now. Hey, it's not a bad map for late game Terran, right? There's not that many bases for Zerg to take. Things could still go well, but it just felt like those 75 drones were out so early, and the double medevac pressure wasn't actually threatening. So yeah. It's in that situation where the Zerg is like not pressured. And if the Zerg is not pressured, their creep spread's better. They're looking for run bys. They're shutting down drops better. This is very nice. Just getting a bit of a dent in the creep, you know, slowing down Lambo, just picking up here. Does lose a few Marines, so a bit of
mine. Okay. Oh, man. That was a massive mine. Yeah, on the other side, Lambo's well situated to repel the other side of the attack, but that was a massive mine. How many kills did he get? I have no idea. Did WardiTV?
I'm not actually sure. I didn't get to see the exact number. It looked like about 15 units maybe. But Lingbane here going to try and deny the 4th base. Marines should be able to defend this just fine. But big attack on the top as well. Lambo looking to maybe swarm in. There's Banshees on the top side though. Baneling ambush on the bottom side as well. The Banshees are going to make this harder to swarm. But Clem definitely outnumbered right now. He's got to try and hold firm.
Yeah, one Widow Mine in the back is going to deter Lambo from going in further. He kind of stopped to attack a little bit on the high ground there a little bit too long because the tanks and the mines were not in position. I find if he had just gone for it, this could have worked out just fine. But as it stands, it's now Clem with a slight supply lead. Of course, there's a lot of Banelings in the army of Lambo, so army-wise, it's actually fairly even in terms of resources. But yeah, still anyone's game. Clem is going to do his signature trademark thing and just kind of harass everywhere and use his young hands to good effect.
Tank's pretty far forward though, and there's not that many Marines here. And he's setting up a position for a good trade, and that's Lambo's big mistake. But Lambo has overwhelming Ling Bane count. I think Lambo should be able to overwhelm this.
It does look like it. He's gonna push onto the back. A lot of medevacs still surviving. Clem is gonna go into the main, force Lambo to reposition, and just kind of keep Lambo back by virtue of just being on his side of the map. And at the same time, Clem is probably going to set up to move out somewhere else.
Okay, gotta be careful there, Clem. Banelings and Lings coming in everywhere. He's being annoying and he's traded very well. It had 3,000 resources in the units lost tab. Widowmine Bio parading the top. He's close to maxed his Clem. He's taking a 5th command center and he's getting into that position where he can just out multitask.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's looking for. Lambo does have little pockets of units here and there to try and mitigate for this. 2 Widowmines move on forward beautifully there. Soak up the mine shot as well as kill those units unloading. And Lambo will clean up actually on both sides by the looks of it. There's still 3 medevacs, like 2 full and an extra one basically going into the main.
Yeah, the dickhead medevacs, you know, the ones that just never leave. They just keep rotating between this triangle. Drop the low ground, drop the main, drop the very bottom. Every Zerg's nightmare. And remember, Lambo's played pure Ling Bane. So he can just make Ling Bane for days. But despite that, and being on 82 drones, not that many gases, he can't really keep up right now. He's got his hive finished, but he hasn't got the money to really go Ultra Cav in 3-3. He's under so much pressure. And Clem is just permanently maxed out. I mean, it feels unfair when you play against Clem in this situation.
It sure does. Really good hit onto the Banelings that are morphing. Actually, maybe not so much since there's no ability for Clem to capitalize and cleaning that up. The medevacs have been uncontested the entire time as well, so Clem just doing a good job of babysitting those. I was going to say not running them into spores as he runs one into a spore. And yeah, I mean, Lambo's not going to be able... Oh, he is able to hold this base perhaps. Not for much longer if the Banshees do focus it though.
And a Liberator on the bottom just killed 8 workers, as well as a Queen down there while all this was happening. And this is Clem just balls to the wall, attacking everywhere. He says, have fun dealing with this, mate. Have fun. This is so ridiculously hard. And on a bigger map with this setup, I think Lambo could have done it. I think Lambo's style was really smart. Playing 4 gas pure Ling Bane gives you the numbers, so you should be able to deal with it. But I think he needed to do some more run bys. And that's the secret with Clem is you can't just defend against him. He's actually unfair. In this sort of game, it's not a fair match. I don't think anybody in the world can take him in this situation. And people will say Dark beats him, Rogue beats him. Yeah, they backstab him, they counterattack him, they cheese him out with surprise attacks. They do not try and sit back and defend the way Lambo did, because it's so hard against Clem in this situation.
Yeah, it's a lot easier a lot of the time to have to be attacking, and for Zerg in particular, you don't have to micro that much on attack as much as Terran. So if you can allocate some resources to have your opponent just kind of looking at their own stuff, it's a lot easier to manage a lot of the time. But not gonna be the case here. Lambo is now like 70 something supply behind, so it's looking pretty doomed for us to start.
Yeah, obviously this is our ace player up against, I think, your 3rd pick. So it is of course, you know, and a good map for the matchup as well. So definitely not unexpected that it's going this way. Lambo had some really nice openings. He tries to do some good hold position spreadies there. But at the end of the day, Clem just has too much attacking in too many places, and you can't micro everywhere at once.
Yeah, and that is the kind of matchup that I didn't like about this particular clan war is, you know, 1st versus 3rd, it doesn't feel good. I think that like 1st versus 5th is fine. 1st versus 1st is like a coin flip. 1st versus 3rd is just, it takes one of our stronger players, and, you know, it sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of funny the tactics there, right? Where it's like, you're like, oh, sweet, I got my 5th player versus their 1st player. Heck yeah. Like, you know, you're like, thank you for your sacrifice, 5th player. Thank you, you know, that sort of thing. And then there's other times where you're just like, ooh, they're just a little favored in this one, and a little favored in this one, and a little favored in this one. Oh no, oh no, oh no. You know, and I don't, and they've got 1 or 2 throwaway matches where obviously they're massively unfavored, but you got 3 or 4 matches where it looks kind of good for you, then that definitely can work out. So a good start for the War Pigs there. Of course, pigs and cats, both animals, amongst a whole bunch of weird high-tech teams, Grubble-Up Dubs, weird erotic robots, fiction, and all the rest. So we really should be allies, but right now we do have to fight right now to see who wins this match. But it's a brotherly battle, you know? Just a little bit of seeing who's dominant. It's a scuffle. We're not trying to seriously hurt each other.
That is true, and you know we are gonna get behind the animal here. It's gonna be money, right?
Oh yes, that is true. You've got the animal there, the pig, the cat, and the bunny. It's interesting though, because both pigs and cats would absolutely just kill bunnies, right? Like I mean, the pig doesn't normally have a reason to do it, but it might if it's hungry enough. The cats will do it for fun.
I guess the big cats would. A little cat would kill bunny?
Yeah. Really? Like my parents have cats, and they'll just be like, oh yeah. You just be like, what are you doing? And he just like brings in like a small rabbit that it's caught, and is like, Look at this thing that I'm about to kill. And they're like, oh my God, stop, you know? And the cat's just like, gonna torture the poor thing. Doesn't matter the size of the cat. Cats are killers, man. They are born predators, dude.
Yeah. I mean, cats, yeah. I like that. Let's go with that for this clan war.
Well, it is going to be, of course, nice low ping match here. Taiwan versus Korea, Nice versus Bunny. And I don't know. I think there's points in time where I would feel really good about this match, but Bunny's form recently has been off the chain. So for anyone who doesn't follow anything other than maybe the top 4 of the biggest tournaments, you might be like, "Yo, what are you talking about? Is Bunny? Who's Bunny? How good is Bunny?" Bunny's been really on the up and up in the last year. So definitely a couple years ago, I would not be as intimidated. Right now, though, I think this is a pretty good. Like if we win here, it would be absolutely incredible. It's definitely the WarPigs the underdog in this one.
No doubt. Yo boy on screen.
Indeed. Down here in the bottom left, in the pink, befitting a WarPig. His tusks are rearing. They are going to be covered in blood by the end of this match. Hopefully, mostly his opponents and not his own. This is nice.
And this guy is not so nice. In the top right-hand side, it's Bunny for Goat and the gang. He's the hitman for the gang. He is 4-0 so far. Like you said, he has been extraordinary. And that is all while he was playing with a soft cast on. Now, he's removed it. So, yeah.
Really?
This is his final form now.
Oh, so what was that for?
He broke his hand or something. It was on Twitter. But then, he had a cast for a little bit, then he had a soft cast. He played those last 4 matches with a soft cast on.
Oh my God, nice. Oh no, we forgot to check for the eBay block. Oh, he's gonna have to take his 3rd base. This is a bad start for Nice.
Yeah, and this is really good for Bunny, but again, he's our hitman, going up against Nice. Nice is a really good player, okay? Like, this was your 4th? 5th pick.
5th.
That's crazy. See, like if he was at your 4th pick, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. That's Nice is would have been a good round 4th pick, I think. So getting him on 5th is nice, but Bunny is just absurd. So let's hope that he can pull this one through. Really important match for us. This is in my mind one that we should definitely win every time. So
we'll see. Of course, definitely taking the 3rd always sucks. I think there's some creative solutions to this that involve some YOLO maneuvers, some diving across the map with some proxies and stuff. Nice so far is opting for the ultra defensive, battery in the main, adept out to the 3rd, just keep making probes and see exactly what happens. Meanwhile, this is not the eBay block into super fast factory. This is the eBay block into the expand. So it's not the one that follows up with like 2 Hellions and then 2 Widow Mines. The thing that's really awkward for Nice is he has no idea what's happening, right? Because he played very greedy this game, wanted to completely skip scouting, not only of his opponent, but he skipped scouting and he didn't check for eBay block. So Nice first information will be coming in as this adept goes across. He's going to go Stargate, though, and he will see this command center momentarily. So he might just open single Oracle.
Marines are a little bit exposed here, but the adept is going to have to back away as the next 2 will spawn. Still gets a Marine and a half there for its troubles. Does trade a lot of HP for it. And I imagine Oracle will be the choice for Nice, just seeing how spread his bases are as well, right? Like he will scout the CC, so re-rallies the Oracle like very smartly towards his opponent instead of defensively. And
Nice is going to go... I mean, the current meta would say Blink, right? But because it's Nice and because he's got that 3rd, I think he might build Phoenix and just go like Glaive Adept Phoenix all in or something crazy like that. And I wouldn't mind it. I think a crazy all in's not a bad choice when you're forced into such an awkward setup.
Yeah, and you're the underdog to begin with. The Oracle's going to pull back, and so Nice is going to decide to just, cancel that shield battery. So it's not going to be necessary. There was only 1 Hellion threatening anyway. And Bunny, now aware that there's an Oracle, will go for the Viking defense. Already a Widow Mine next to the gas in his main base. Let's see if the Oracle runs into it.
All right. Widow Mines, of course, are popping out. And yeah, he's gone for the Vikings. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of players would still try to do the Widow Mine drop, but he has not I do wonder if Nice goes for that third base. It's like he's got to decide Twilight Council or third base right now, and figure out which one he wants to go for. And I really do think it's going to be this third base. He's got a probe set up for it. So I think we're going to be a 3-base mineral, just mass charge or mass adept. Both would be good options.
And gotta land that Viking right now, or just end up losing it. He's gonna reposition to try to potentially just repair it to continue to output damage, but it's not gonna survive. The Phoenix are a little bit too much DPS there. A clever maneuver there from Nice, who is gonna continue to, or did only, actually he stopped at 3 Phoenix. So that's pretty interesting, and now dropping that Twilight Council that you wanted to see as well.
Yeah, Forge Twilight, there is a third gas, so, you know, it doesn't feel crazy all in. Feels more like Nice might be playing a bit more of a macro Zealot style from here. Like, I don't think this is Glaives. Otherwise, I mean, actually, you'd need a third or probably 4th gas even if it was a Glaives all-in. I don't know, man. My silly all-ins or Phoenix openings are very out of date. But it could be just kind of Showtime, you know, that sort of style. Zealot Arc on, get on up into it and see how it plays out. It's just that the Taiwanese players, they do love a cheeky Adept all-in, which is why I keep mentioning it. Off these Phoenix openings, because you can deny the info.
Nice. Well, one of those Phoenix will fall. And Nice has a resumed Phoenix production as well. But they're not really defending anything at the moment, right? It's kind of awkward for me to go Phoenix, I guess, into not Colossus, but I can see the reasoning just to get rid of mines. However, and I guess Bunny is making mines 2 at a time, so there is that. But,
and they shut down drops, right? Because this way you don't need Blink Stalkers. So
that's true.
If you lose the Phoenix, though, it is really bad. So already losing one does suck. And a bit of damage on the medevac adds up. Sees the move out. He can track that. Charge is not done, so I'd like to see a chrono on that as the gateway count goes up. Oof. Oh, man. He's got to not lose those Phoenix, but getting damage on the medevacs is really nice. 8 gateways here. Charge is still about 25, 30 seconds away, maybe 20 with chrono boosts. Phoenix almost goes down again. Good revelation from Nice. And definitely, as Bunny, you don't really know what you're going up against. You're completely blind. If he steps a bit too far forward here, Nice will stomp these medevacs, and there's no going home against a Phoenix player if you step in too deep. So I would love to see him get those pickoffs. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. He does get a scan here to reveal the army of Nice, and he's still gonna feel confident enough to continue to push on forward. The mines are gonna be laid down in a line here so that he can kite back to them against the Zealots. One mine will crash onto 3 Zealots or so, and the next 2 are coming, but the Phoenix are gonna lift off. And this looks like a decent engagement to start for Nice, but that Widow Mine in the back goes to town.
Oh, too many Widow Mines, and the Zealots, of course, charging on the mines. The Phoenix pickups were not there, and the Zealot count, it's just not quite big enough. The +1 upgrade finishes after the push. Very nice play by Bunny. That was a very crisp, well-executed push. Just didn't let the Phoenix Zealot do what they needed to do.
Yeah, 1 or 2 mines connecting a little bit too hard there, right? So, yeah, good stuff for Bunny. It looked actually pretty hopeful for Nice. Like, looking at the army of Bunny at the Watchtower and the army that Nice had already ready, I thought, man, we could lose this. Because if he stops it too, he's way ahead, right? Like, Bunny had just started his CC for the 3rd at that point.
I think it was nice the way he pushed forward to the Watchtower so early, even before he was ready to fight. Because it made it very hard for Nice to get out there with a flank. And honestly, you want a flank. In that scenario, anytime you get above like 12 Zealots in a fight, you want to come from 2 sides. And with the way it was set up, he actually probably would have been better off leading with the Phoenix and trying to drag the mines over the Marines, just because Bunny microed so well. And we could see that like he was gunning down the Phoenix, and the Phoenix were kind of like picking up some mines, but then taking other Widow Mine shots into the middle of the Zealots and that sort of stuff. So you've got to take into account sometimes sacking the Phoenix for the dive and the suicide kamikaze run. Just drag those mines into the Marines can work out. Of course, Bunny, so good with his micro, might have been able to retarget quickly enough as well, as that is the counter to that. If you just quickly retarget your mines in that scenario, it usually works out okay.
Yeah, that's super difficult to do, though. Especially against like moving targets like Phoenix and stuff, while, you know, pushing with the Marines and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, very, very difficult. So
when you see it,
maybe just on burrow, right? Like maybe just on burrow.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because then you're going to lose them all probably before they burrow, because the Zealots are coming in as well, right? But it's sometimes worth it, especially if you're unburrowing them, and then in that moment your Marines are like, oh, we can actually just kill all the Phoenix. And yeah, I lose my Widow Mines, but you lose all your Phoenix, and then it's just Marines versus Zealots, and it's kind of okay, right? You can start to step that.
Yeah. Would the Zealots even prioritize the Widow Mines if they're on burrow though, or can you just burrow them after? Or are you just saying like that they would just like kind of trample over the Marines before the mines have a say?
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess if they unburrow, the Zealots would kind of change targets, right, onto the Marines. Though they might have already used up their charges to some extent. So it kind of depends. That'd be interesting to see. That's really annoying sometimes as a Zerg, isn't it? When you're just like, guys, kill the mines, and they're like, well, it's not burrowed yet, so it's not a threat. And you're like, kill it, kill it before it burrows, man.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, we're going to
we
Europe.
just need EU. Yeah, EU. I think if we think about it, next match after this is also, that's going to be NA and then back to Korea in the next 2 matches as well. So we get to hoppity hop through the CatZ habitat, the StarCraft servers, hopping from one to the next and having a good time. Of course, everybody out there, did you know you can actually support this tournament and make it actually worth the community's while to get more of these going? Encourage Wardy to get more of them going, encourage the players to actually practice for the matches like they have been, because they love getting a team lead, cash on the line. It's really interesting to have so much on the line for a single map, best of ones, all the planning that goes into it, all of that stuff. So yeah, you guys can support the Kickstarter. Do not forget to get on there. We've got so many different tiers. You guys, it's linked in the chat. I know there's people linking it up in the chat right now because they're legends. And get on there if you can spare a couple bucks. If you can't, of course, you can always just follow Wardy's channel, and you can subscribe here using your Bezos bucks, using your Prime Gaming for now. But in the future, definitely I think it's amazing. What was that? 19,464 pounds, 518 generous StarCraft fans who are literally saying, you know what? Some people say it's a dead game. StarCraft fans say, nah, not on my watch, not on my wallet. We are going to keep it alive with our wallets and with our hearts and our eyeballs. So thanks everyone for hanging out and being a part of this event. It's a pleasure for me and CatZ to be here casting it. And this, of course, in the top right is my player. He is undefeated so far. I'm going to make him our unofficial captain. If he wins this match as well, he might become our captain. It is the War Pigs, a laser.
And on the bottom left-hand side, my 5th pick, he has taken, I think, a map so far. Let's go. It's DNS. Not a favorable matchup for him, this one. I lacked it. Didn't feel too good about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, DNS has got some tricky tricks, but so far it feels like, I mean, Lasers, I think he's only run into Protoss players so far, but he's 3-0. He's the only player who won a map in our very first series against Benny and his other boys. So obviously starting that one off, but since then he's won all of his matches and has looked really, really powerful. I like the preparation that he's put in. That's what's made me really happy watching him. I always feel like a Laser and Lambo have a different level of planning than most other Zergs.
Yeah. A Laser is definitely a planner. He really likes a lot of structure. So yeah, that is one of his strengths and maybe weaknesses too, right? Because if DNS can throw him off a little bit, if he can do some of his tricks, if he can like save a strategy for a Laser that he hasn't seen before, I think that's where a Laser can be a little bit weak. So we'll see if DNS can trick him. He's a smart boy. He is French, so even has a cool accent. And I'm not sure what else he has up his sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen since I've had a chance to hang out with Adrian in person, but used to be a frequenter of the gym at every event we'd be at. I'd always see him on the treadmill in the hotel gyms, just hitting the gym. So he was the OG before Special. He's the modern one in the gym at every event. But before there weren't many, but he's always down there. And actually a Laser is as well. So actually both of these guys are two of the guys who are always on the treadmill, working out at every event, keeping fit, healthy. So it's kind of the next generation of young, healthy pro gamer. They are 100% Dorito dust free. There is no Mountain Dew on their desks. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that is for sure. Laser streams his workout sometimes to the Discord. And
oh really?
Yeah,
awesome.
He'll run and kind of like stream it. It's pretty funny. He's inspired me to stream my workouts once or twice. But yeah, sick. I hope he doesn't win this. So hate him right now. Hate him and his workouts.
Hopefully keeping fit and focused. Glittering Ashes is a pretty big map, man. So it's kind of funny because like depending on how both of you are playing, it can get very frustrating for the aggressor if the defender is really on their point, because it's hard to get over there and finish your opponent off. It's kind of hard to finish them. So whoever's more happy treading water, progressing to the late game, being more patient can be favored. Haven't seen too many of Laser's games go that way though. He's been very good at finishing his opponents off in a clean, crisp fashion.
Yeah, and he's also a little bit of a trickster, right? If he has a build order prepared, he is the type of player who could link flood as well. So we see that the first two adepts were very cautious not to move out, but I still like that DNS shaded out just to try to force a Laser to make some units. A Laser didn't really bite. So now DNS is just going to use the adepts defensively, take his third with them, has a Void Ray out, and yeah, he's just going to go macro mode himself, which is, you know, good for this map, I guess.
Do you think we see second Stargate era or just Twilight Forge?
Gonna go with Twilight Forge, but I kind of hope that it's Stargate. Like, I think DNS can do it all, but he sometimes does mix in like 2 Stargates and goes to carriers, but still has a ground force. That is one of the more annoying styles for me to deal with personally. Yeah. But at the same time, knowing that he is going up against a Laser and that a Laser does like his aggression sometimes, I kind of wouldn't mind a Robo. As we say that though, there's the +1 on air. But
it's a fake. I mean, he might let it finish, but I think he's just going to be building 2 to 3 Void Rays out of 1 Stargate and actually going into ground pretty hard. I don't know if it'll be a Blink Stalker style or not. I think of DNS as a Stalker Colossus kind of guy, but I'm not 100% sure. You can play both styles. I've actually been theorizing, like, hey, why aren't more people going 2, 3, 4 Void Rays off 1 Stargate now? Just chrono boost it a few more times if you have to. It really gives off the illusion of Skytoss. You add in that spinning Cybercore. You were talking about tricks, man. Guess what? Laser sees that spinning Cybercore. You know he's a detail-oriented Zerg. He'll pay attention. He'll notice that. And he'll be like, oh yeah, you're playing Skytoss. And what do people like to do against Skytoss? They like to all in them, right? Lots of Nidus Worms and things people like Dark have been doing in GSL. These Lings are being annoying, which is nice, but it still doesn't give him the information. Like 1 Adept, this is so convincing that it's Skytoss, except for the fact that there's no Gasters on the 3rd. So that might be the one thing which tells a Laser that it is actually a ground transition.
Yeah. Do you think he's actually gonna keep the upgrade here, DNS? Is that enough to justify the upgrade to just have like those 3 Void Rays out?
I think he might just forget to cancel it. I think with this sort of build, you just forget to cancel it, and you're like, oh, whatever, it'll help in the late game. He's building a 4th Void Ray though.
Yeah.
What the heck? Why do you? If you're going Stalkers, does it really make sense to keep building Void Rays? I guess, I don't know. It seems weird. It seems super weird.
It does seem weird, right? Because if a Laser was to go for some sort of all-in, he would account for enough Void Rays that they would fall off. Like that is to say, he would have enough Queens to beat way more than 4 Void Rays. So at some point, the Void Rays just stop losing value, or start gaining value, or stop gaining value, start losing value, right? So they become a little bit redundant. There is a Spire on the side of a Laser here. And
Laser's economy is off the chain, man. He's got to 80 probes so early. He was at 80 probes at 6 minutes. He's going to 90 probes now. He sees this 4th base, but it's a closer to 7-minute 4th. It's not a 6-minute 4th. So a Laser should get way ahead on supply. The question is, can he do anything with it? So Stalkers are coming out, Robobay's coming out. It's going to be Stalker Disruptor. And I think a Laser wants to do a Corruptor timing, but he needs to see these Stalkers. And I think he's going to be going like, I think we might see like 20 Corruptors, because he's so convinced it's Skytoss, right? He's like, 20 Corruptors, let's go. Let's kill these first carriers as they pop, kill these Void Rays. And if he overcommits to that, that's going to be really bad against this. If he goes Mutas, it's fine, right? Mass Muta's good here. But if he goes Corruptors with all of his money, it's going to be terrible.
No, that's a lot of money to be saving. I mean, Mutas can be risky as well. The Oracle is also threatening to scout here. There's already Disruptors on the way. And it's Corruptors, baby! Love it.
Dude, and 17 of them, yeah. He's been tricked. DNS has just hidden his Stalkers. He showed the 4 Void Rays. He showed the +1 air upgrade. A Laser's got Overlord speed. He's going to do Queen Walk Corruptor push. And he's going to realize he spent his money on absolute garbage. Literally, his best strategy here is to kill some Void Rays and then just split off his Corruptors and start peeing on Nexus. and he just needs to hard swap into Infestation, Double Evo, Ultras, all sorts of stuff. He sees what's happening now, pulls the Overlords back, abandon plan, and go for Hive right now. Get an Infestation, get melee upgrades, mass ground units, Baneling Nest. Like, Laser needs to play Ravagerling Bane and try to get to Ultras or something like that.
Yeah, he's been bamboozled here. He is gonna try to hold the middle of the map here with a lot of queens. He does have a lot of transfuse. There's only one, I think, disruptor available, so DNS is gonna have to be pretty careful. The Voiders are trying to tuck themselves behind the Stalkers so that the Stalkers can work on some of these Corruptors. But,
good transfuses. Yeah. That was pretty well done there by a Laser. Now he's got to split these Corruptors down on the flanks of the map because they're useless until Hives. I mean, he can obviously keep them alive for Broodlords, but they're a big waste in the supply. Splitting them into 2 squads is going to keep this army back a little bit. And obviously he wants to keep trading, does a Laser. He's got the Queens for mass transfuse. He's still got a great economy. He has a 5th base on the way. I still think his early game macro puts him in a very playable position. DNS has been sneaky, but in terms of more stuff beats less stuff, a Laser is still winning this game just by having more material on the board.
So far, yeah, he is. The Stalkers are actually going to struggle to get on top of these Corruptors as the Laser is going to find the 4th exposed of DNS. DNS too far out of position, will battery overcharge, but now he is going to actually be forced to a recall. Will this be enough? A Disruptors.
Oh! Fudgety, shizzle fizz, dick me, bloody goddamn, ow. Ah, no. What is with today? It's stupid Protoss players and their balls. You probably weren't even awake. This is not the first game today where these stupid players keep teabagging my boys. If one more Protoss player teabags one of my boys today, I am coming after you. Next live event, be warned, Protoss players. You be warned.
Yeah, I actually just woke up for this one, so I didn't see what happened in the... But, I mean, there's been a lot of Protoss players, so I imagine this has happened a little bit. And yeah, I was tracking one of the Disruptor shots. I didn't even see the one that got the massive shot. I just saw that the units deleted out of nowhere. So
me too. Amazing. I couldn't see it underneath the Ravager graphic either. And then the Ravagers, it felt like they just exploded from inside themselves. I was like, what? The Corruptors are going to get another Nexus. I mean, the thing is, the Laser's macro is so good. I think he's actually still in a good spot because he killed the natural. He now kills the 4th. Stalker Disruptors here. There's a lot of Queen Roach Ravager. It's not good versus Disruptors, but as long as he doesn't take the craziest hits and builds more Zerglings and stuff, he could definitely do it. The Hive is very late. The Archons are a problem. This is a very big problem for a Laser. Queens will get wrecked by Zealot Archon, and Zerglings are really terrible versus this comp. So he needs to just keep making Roaches Ravagers. Oh, he's going to get stuck on the ramp. Do not get stuck behind you with your Queens behind you. A Laser actually needs to get rid of those Queens from this army because they will literally force field him against the Disruptors. Queens are really bad here.
Oh, the Archons are trapped behind the army here of DNS. There's not enough links here to justify not putting the Archons at the front, I think. And there's now Disruptor shots coming everywhere. Laser trying to get a full surround as all 3 Disruptor shots have been utilized already. But this looks decent for DNS regardless. And
good flank by a Laser though. He's got rid of most of the Disruptors. I mean, DNS will win this battle. The question is, will he beat the Remax? The Archons are gone. Drones are going to try and kill a Disruptor on the back. Drones are going to kill a Disruptor. Yes!
Yeah, a lot of focus fire utilized from a Laser there onto a Cryptomere as well, so that's good for DNS. There is a lot of Roaches on the way. Next warping should be probably Stalkers at this point as well, as DNS is going to blink on forward looking for these units, and he's going to find a few morphing Roaches into Ravagers, and he gets on top of the Roaches before they can consolidate, so this looks decent again for DNS. However, the Roach flank is still here. The Corruptors are still doing work on the other side of the map. Now drones being pulled, and the Zealots is a brilliant decision here, especially against the drones. That should do a lot of damage. Good blink onto the low ground.
They're killing another Nexus behind this. The drones are dying in droves, but DNS is only down to 2 Nexi, which gives maybe a tiny glimmer of hope for a Laser. But so much supply getting stuck in Corruptors, dude, and that was just a big problem. I mean, look at the army supply, and then remember that most of that army supply does nothing for a Laser here. His income's out. And as long as DNS doesn't trade absolutely appallingly, he still has income behind this. A Laser doesn't.
Yeah, that is the thing, right? Like, DNS can even lose this army and he'll be fine on the Remax, I think. But I think the wiser decision would be just to back away if he can. Maybe load up those 2 Archons. Okay, nice. He saves a few units, and now a Laser is pretty much all in. He has to go on the counter offense. He's making 10 Zerglings because that's the best thing that he can do. But DNS, I mean, he has 78 workers. He doesn't have all the real estate to make use of those workers.
Oh, he didn't micro his Patriot Heal. he messed up the battery heal. Initially, he was a little slow to do that. He then finally did it, but the Nexus does still go down. Corruptor's doing some work. Another Nexus snipe. That is the 5th Nexus that is being urinated on. A Laser says, you might win this game, but I pee in your general direction, dirty Protoss player.
Yeah, and I mean, the shield battery here is actually not going to help. I almost wish that DNS hadn't tried to defend that Nexus, just because the shield battery overcharge would be so much more effective in this fight, and this is the last fight that he just needs to win. So this is good. Don't engage him. Let him have whatever he wants. Let him have whatever Nexi he wants, because you're so far ahead in economy right now. Time is all you need.
Another Nexus does get cancelled, but he will win this fight, and with that, Laser's hopes in this games go down. The Corruptors come in hunting for another Nexus. They're going to go for the natural. Even long distance mining, it's still going to be enough for DNS here, right? He's just it's such a rough position. I mean, Laser's going to try to re-drone, and dude, he's going to kill Nexus number 6 or 7 at this point. If we count that one that he just cancelled, it is number 7. So these Corruptors, they are getting value. It's just
there's nowhere to mine right now for DNS.
Oh man, yeah, he's only got 1 base going up, and it's not even there. He can't return minerals. I mean, it is, so this becomes an all-in. 5 queens, 3 ravages, 6 roaches. Well, that's a pretty shit army for a Laser. It's pretty small. He's got to give up this base, and now he's just got to kind of survive for a little bit.
It's only charge slots on the side of DNS, however, and he's gonna see an army that's kind of like intimidatingly large for what the economy of a Laser is. Like, it's a tiny army, yes, but like a Laser has like no economy to work with, right? So DNS might think, wow, you still have economy to make an army. Now drones being pulled again, and DNS with good micro. This is a game of inches now.
Yeah, drones into Archons is always bad. The drones aren't fighting right now. That red hit point Archon with 41 shields, man. And great micro by DNS here. Yeah, I think it is. I mean, he's killed 10 workers. This is really, really awkward for a Laser, but it's still very close. Only 1 Nexus rebuilt behind this, remember? So even with 69 probes, long distance mining, the units get cleaned up. It's not over till it's over. The Corruptors come in. If they kill another Nexus, dude, that's it. Because he doesn't have enough money to rebuild.
Oh my god, yeah, this is crazy.
Spends all of his money on Stalkers. If that goes down, there's no battery. If that dies, it's game over. A Laser wins if the Nexus dies.
He sure does, but it's not going to be the case. It looks like, as just 2 Corruptors remain here, another warping of Stalkers will be enough. Target fire could have been slightly cleaner, but it was good.
Just a bit more Mountain Dew. This is the problem with being a healthy gamer, man. He wasn't able to pee nearly as much. If he had just a bit more Mountain Dew in his system,
he's going for it.
He's gonna go for it. He's just gonna click it. He's like, "This is your last base. Go, get it, a Laser. Go, go. Yes, son. No, don't. No.
I feel like he could have had it with that last roach, but maybe he felt like he couldn't defend the counterattack after the fact. And DNS will take that crazy game.
Yeah, I'm rewinding the game, man. I mean, that was actually so sick.
I'm sure that roach has it, right? Like the last roach, but...
Oh, no, easily. He had 2 roaches that were still there on the left side, and it was on 10 hit points. He definitely could have killed it with that roach, but he would have lost all of his units. And so having lost all those units, the thing is, there was 1 zealot at his base in a mineral line, and he had only 3 roaches building. He did have 27 workers, though. So he would have had to defend 2 zealots that were on his side of the map. And then there was also 2 Archons, 4 Stalkers, 3 more Zealots, a Prism, and he could have warped in 3 more Zealots. So yeah, actually he wouldn't have been able to rebuild, and a Laser may have been able to survive there. It would have been very, very close, because 2 Archons and a Prism is no easy feat for roaches, especially when you're building them 2, 3, 4 at a time. But that would have been so bloody close, man.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, yeah, I think a Laser could have stayed a little bit longer there for sure and just see what happens. Like, his opponent still has to decide to cross the map and cross the map. So maybe it wasn't completely over, but he was like 40 supply behind. I mean, he was definitely behind, right? So yeah, but I mean, that's a huge victory for Goat and the gang, because now it's the Goat coming up and he is angry.
That's gonna be fun, man. Over to the NA server, of course. We'll hop over there, and that's crazy. Chat's also pointing out a very good point. T-Ball, very, very good Protoss player from the UK/Pakistan, says DNS would actually pull 60 workers with his counter roll in, so there's no way you defend that. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. 60 workers becomes a formidable fighting force then, doesn't it?
It sure does.
That's actually insane.
He didn't have money for a Nexus, right? If the Nexus died, so he would have had to pull the workers for sure.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. It's gonna be Berlingrad, by the way, and this is, I think your second pick against my first pick, and I mean this is where now things have turned, right? Because I looked at this matchups on paper, and I thought, okay, I think it's a little bit pick favored because DNS versus Laser is a little bit Laser favored, especially with how he's been performing. Yeah. But DNS taking this fight means that the roles have kind of swapped, because now I have two chances to close it out, and while Armani is maybe a little bit under Dream in terms of expectations, Serral should be a little bit over Cure. So
yeah, that was definitely I mean that was one. I think Serral is a little favored over Cure, but it's Cure, it's Berlingrad, it's a pretty good, Terran map.
Yeah.
So I think this is definitely, I mean, there's people out there who are like, oh, foregone conclusion. Obviously, Serral has had a few upsets so far. It's definitely not a foregone conclusion. Same as the last match. I think that was a little favored for me. And but DNS pulled off a brilliant trick, dude. The +1, air, 4 Void Rays, they were useless units, right? In terms of combat, in terms of doing anything except tricking. And that's what they did. They denied scouting. They secured the 4 bases. They all just died to Corruptors. But the fact is, 17 Corruptors is an immense amount of money and supply. And when you've got all your supply in Mass, Queen, Corruptor, you just do not have a good ground army. Those Disruptor shots absolutely clutch as well. So really cool to see. Let's go into the next one.
Yeah, there was one Disruptor. Like, I love... go ahead and intro this, but we'll talk a little bit more about it.
In the bottom right, War Pigs. He's going to take down one of the greatest players of all time. He says, finish, Phenom. I'm going to finish you. It's Cure.
And on the top left-hand side, hells yeah. This guy is going to not offer any cures today. He is the Finnish Phenom, the best player in the world, the GOAT, Serral. Do you know that Cure has never listened to The Cure?
Really?
That's kind of pathetic,
isn't it? Disappointing.
Yeah. Disappointing is another word for pathetic.
Well, I'm hoping that Serral is going to be nervous like one of those fainting goats in this one. I'm hoping he gets caught out. I want to see tanks on ledges and Widow Mines, just above choke points and stuff like that. It's something where, so obviously I intimately familiar with Serral, cast so many of his games over the last few years, had him as the War Chest Team League player, and our strategy 2 years ago when we did the War Chest Team League was like, I was like literally like, hey everyone, which maps do you want? Okay, cool. You want this? All right. What's the worst map for Serral to play on? We're like, Serral, you're playing on the worst map because he's going to win anyway. And we're going to try and snipe their best player on their strongest map kind of thing, every time. And the thing is, Serral traditionally loses more. Maybe this is a feeling. I haven't done the statistical analysis. I feel like he loses more on maps where he should be strong and Zerg should be strong. And he wins an immense amount in Zerg versus Terran, especially on small maps that are Terran favored. Back on Submarine, sick win rate on it. Cyberforest, sick win rate on it. All these small maps that are rush maps, that are Terran maps, Serral historically is very solid on them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with how well-rounded he is as a player, like in terms of play styles, because he can play Roaches just as well as he can play Mutiling Bane, right? And usually Roaches feel like the type of style that falls off at a certain level, that like the best player in the world may not have a huge edge over someone else executing Roaches. But Serral is just very good with positioning and very good with decision making as well. So he can play that style perfectly. And this is the kind of map where you might see a little bit more of that kind of approach.
So this is interesting. Forcing Serral to take the other third base and just pressuring with this Reaper is Cure. Doesn't know that other third's gone down just yet. And I think I've been having a debate with people recently about how you don't need to build 6 Zerglings. Almost every Korean Zerg, Dark, Rogue, etc. always build 6 Zerglings. And I was talking to Solar about it. I was like, hey, why do you do this? Because I feel like you could just have an extra drone. And Solar said, just you never lose any Zerglings, and you can get your creep going. There, you can never cancel the tumor either. But I notice here, smaller rush distance map. Might be the smallest for the Reaper now that the minerals have been opened. 4 Zerglings only. Serral doesn't lose any Zerglings, and his creep is spread instantly. So I think there is definitely something where if you do a tight opening, 4 Zerglings may be superior. Serral bringing out his very efficient openings, even on the map where even you see Raynor usually go 6 Zerglings on this map. So Serral just squeezing out that one extra drone, doesn't take any damage for it. It's just Serral things.
Yeah. I mean, the Europeans have been making fun of the Koreans, and in particular Dark, for starting that 6 Zergling trend and just going for 6 Zerglings over the 4. I personally don't do either, because I go for a hatchery on the other side of the map usually. But if I did, I would imagine I might go 6 Zerglings just for ease of execution as well, right? Like it's.
I mean, if I'm playing Cure, I'm going 6 Zerglings as well for sure, CatZ. Yeah, I'm like, hey, if you guys are baboons like me with slow old hands, yeah, do it. But definitely, if you're a mechanical beast, why not get that extra drone out early? Now, 2-on-1 is an interesting opening, right? Because it's very flexible in terms of how you follow it up. It gets some pressure going, gets some mobility going. It can set up for a very nice 2-base all-in, not something we see very often. But there's already a factory with a tech lab. And if we see a tank start up, then that's definitely, oh my lord, he's already going tanks. Ooh.
Yeah, Raynor's upset in the chat, by the way, that you called him out on 6 Zerglings. So I think he's a 4 Zergling boy.
Oh, really? Even on Berlingrad? I'm curious. I thought he was a 6 Zergling boy. Maybe I'm getting my players confused. I apologize, Raynor. Raynor, god of ZVT openings. Drop going to go around the north, going to dodge these queens for now. But yeah, tanks on the way. So guys, this is Cure's doing Maru's build that he did every single game in 2018 versus Rogue in the best of 5 semi-finals of GSL season 1, season 2, 2018. I think it was season 2. Basically, it was the build that Maru did for like 6 months straight, almost every game in Terran versus Zerg. So there's going to be 2 tanks in a medevac, combat shields finish, a lot of Marines, a very powerful 2-tank push timing coming in. And if you can get the tanks behind these rocks or on some sort of ledge in a corner, that could be really powerful. Serral, though, he's already stopped at 53 drones and is massing Ling Bane. Serral is such a respectful player against timing attacks and against aggressive openings. Even if he doesn't confirm it's coming, he plays so heavy on the units.
I don't even know how he moved the Zerglings as the Marines were coming in. Like, I don't see the vision of Serral up on that high ground, but he just has a star sense of sorts there. And now he's looking for reinforcements. Not going to be able to catch him. He knows exactly what's coming. He's working hard to try to break those rocks. Not going to happen, and that's going to offer a lot of shelter for these tanks behind those. But Cure's actually not choosing to utilize them. He's going to go on the side here, where he's going to have to spend an extra scan to clear this creep. And wait for it to recede, too.
All right, Queen's coming in from the bottom. Big Ling Bane flank getting ready. You got to protect those tanks. There's no spotting unit looking for the flank. This is a huge mistake from Cure. I've seen this a lot lately. A lot of Terran players. There we go. He put some Marines back near his tank. That's the way to do it. These Queens in a beautiful arc, though. No Bane speed yet. You have to kind of force the trade now as Cure, right? You want to force the trade pre-Bane speed, but Serral's wall of Queens are so annoying. And Cure may have to pick up the lead soon.
Look at this. I mean, to have the presence of mind to go for the full flank and also covering the area where Cure could be reinforcing from on the way there. But this is going to be better because of the tank's positioning right now. This is not something that almost any player would do, I think. But he goes the long way around just to make it so that the tanks don't have that annoying of a position relative to the units. And he's going to get an easy cleanup as a result, because otherwise he's turning a corner into tanks, and then the units clump up, and then the tanks get really good shots.
Yeah,
so brilliant maneuver from Serral.
Great point, CatZ. I love your attention to detail, dude. This is why I love watching. I love listening to your cast. I always call that a death zone, right? If your army has to go around a corner, you get the units automatically, just the way the pathing works and the movement. They will clump the maximum they possibly can clump, and they all get stuck behind each other in the corner. And it becomes, if there's any splash damage the opponent has, it is deadly. Like it is so much worse than any other situation. But round 2 is already here, and the Marine count is huge. The trading's gone so well for Cure. He's got a very delayed third command center. Serral is setting up for round 2 of this flank. And that one tank on the back is looking very exposed. It's sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, Serral may not have time to go around this time around, so he's just going to collapse a little bit earlier. And as you can see, he does still spread his units out, does take a couple of pot shots on the entry there. The Banelings are going to collapse, however, onto all of the Marines. And Serral gets a beautiful cleanup yet again, as he continues instantly to respread creep. Before Wardy's camera is there, the army's just lifting up and the creep's already spread.
Yeah, that is a good hold by Serral. He's only on 57 workers, so this is the rare scenario where the Zerg is like just sitting on such a respectful 3 gas, 57 workers, 3 mineral lines. Any other Zerg would have built drones in the midst of that, but Serral is like, no. And it's actually the right call for Cure, which we know he doesn't have the information that we do, was actually to pull back there. And burrowed Zerglings blocking his third base. It's so hard to read this. You don't have the information as Cure. So now he's got to swap into a macro game. He's still building tanks and marines, but Serral, I mean, his queens have bought so much time. 13 queens with endless transfuse. And, does catch some of them.
Yeah, and as Serral sees the oh, no, a bit more burrow. I mean, if there was a scan for that queen as well, that would delay Cure's third even further. But Serral spots the floating CC over to the third. That is when he starts droning. So he knows, because he has those burrowed links and because he has so much map control, that as long as Cure doesn't have a third situated, all he had to do was defend. And now he's swapped into macro mode. His creep spread is still incredible. This is Serral's game to lose.
Yeah, the way he kept spreading creep, he said, look, I'm going to keep building units and be on a low drone count, but that gives me confidence. And I know that I'm going to crush this fight when I do take it, and I can use this time to do that. 8 Marines going down there. Can't be affording trades like this. Cure does have a good tank count, but Serral is now up at 72 workers. His infestation pit just finished. He's going to be going a few more gases and ultras, so it's going to be that hive tech. Probably ultra. It could be lurker still. But I feel like ultras are where we're going from here. It makes most sense for Serral because he's on this very mineral-heavy economy. Ultraling Bane is going to be a beautiful transition.
Yeah, against the likes of Serral, Raynor, and a few other Zergs, really, it's very difficult also to pay attention to a lot of these Banelings surrounds because they won't give you the cue, right? Like, a lot of people are listening and looking for the ping to when the Lings start attacking the Marines, then you lift them up. But they get the surround first without attacking with any links, and then the Banelings collapse before their opponents can have a say or retreat. So very, very well done here from Serral, as he doesn't want to turn that corner.
Past. Yeah, great little details. It's all the details. ZVT is a push and pull. It's a tug of war in the APM, in the actions, and exactly where the attention is at any moment. And at this point, Cure is saying, I'm going to have to play late game here. And there's a reason that's a problem. It's because whenever you have to go late game versus Maru or Serral, it's not a good situation to be in. And Cure has kind of got the short straw multiple times in his series he's had to play so far, getting a lot of incredibly good late game players. Oh, man.
Just consistently do it. Of course, everyone's done it, but the fact that he can consistently do it while keeping attention everywhere else and spreading his creep and doing everything else that he needs to do, Serral really is the GOAT. And now we have Banelings with Burrow coming on as well. A lot of scans have already been utilized, so he's going to put them everywhere that there isn't creep. The problem for those burrowed Banelings is there's creep just about everywhere.
Yeah, not many areas to burrow Banelings when you've got such good creep spread. Ultra Coven and Vipers are on the way against Tank Lib, and this is basically just a bio Tank Lib style where it's like mass marine. He is adding 3 more barracks to his Cure, which will give him some anti-ultralist power once he has Marauders and Ghosts building. But for now, it kind of feels like with all the Libs building, he'll want to do a push. I don't see a lot of Terrans just turtle from this particular scenario. I feel like he's going to want to go for some big push through the middle, and Serral just seems to be very well set up for it. That being said, Tanks and Libs do move over to the right to start securing the 4th base. And perhaps Cure is content to play a late game. Ultras are not the best long-term efficiency unit. So if that's the case, Serral's going to have to split his army up and swing in from the sides and try to take these bases out.
Yeah, and those Burrow Banelings are also going to be in the same location as the scan for the CC. So those go down as well. Serral is breaking all the rocks on the map just to make the map a little bit more wide open so that his units can flow through it a little bit more freely. And that is really nice for him, as he's just going to continue to expand and get his upgrade situated.
Marine's going to try and get rid of some of these queens and creep tumors, but 400 transfusers say, no, none of that. Serral, just those queens, dude. 13 queens seems so silly, but he's like, no, this is the number. This is the number. This is a wall that will slow down any advance. And they've done a great job of it. The creep spread has just been non-stop. Banelings continue to be very annoying, but I do like the... Oh, here we go.
All right, Serral's going for it. Huge flank from every which angle. The Vipers are going to go and just disable the tanks from contributing much in this engagement, but there is a deep tank line from Cure. And so he will repel this attack for the time being. It wasn't too cheap, though.
Yeah, no SCVs or base going down though. 3 SCVs is not a big deal, so I think that's about as good as it could have gone. And I'm a little surprised. Actually, no, it makes sense. I was going to say I'm a little surprised Serral didn't attack 2 places at once, but with the tanks being spread across the 4 bases, it's actually like it makes sense. Just try to break one area where the Vipers are. Now, the Ling Bane's still looking to surround these units. The tanks aren't very far on this north anymore, so he doesn't have as deep a line to retreat to. Spire, Viper, more Ultras, more Lings, more Banes. Now, in this scenario, you need to stay 4 bases, Q. You cannot take a 5th. And if you spread out to a 5th, you will lose the game. We've seen Maru make that mistake. A lot of players make that mistake on this map. Once you take the 5th, you are so much further spread. And this is a Zerg that's trying to bludgeon you. He has more money, more bank, more bases to work with right now. You got to be real patient.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gotta just trade efficiently. He has a very good setup with those tanks yet again. And Serral is going to reveal his Ultras soon-ish. Maybe wants to wait for the Spire and get some Corruptors or somewhat of a more consistent answer against the Liberators, though, because that is the showstopper for the Ultras. So Serral's going to take a different angle, but still with a consolidated army here with the Vipers, and he's going to go into Cure's third. There's no PF here. A lot of the Banelings going into and up the ramp. They're going to connect, actually, onto a lot of those Marines, but Serral has breached.
So many Banelings, SCVs getting slaughtered on that third. The Liberators are slowly killing the Ultralisks, but it's just not quite enough to do it early enough. And that was a very good trade for Serral, who maintains a supply advantage. Obviously, the units lost tab doesn't look pretty, but when you've got this much of the map and 82 drones, it doesn't need to look pretty, because the thing is, Serral is making some Corruptors to deal with the Libs. He's thinking about Infested Broodlord because he did make Pathogen Glands. He hasn't started that transition yet. No Great Aspire, of course. And no actual infestors. So it's just going to be, hey, get some Corruptors to kill Medivacs and Liberators as another way of killing expensive units. And he'll probably swap to attacking maybe the top on the next attack. It might just be attack the top, attack the bottom. Attack the top, attack the bottom. This is kind of the simple way of just saying, look, he's going to reinforce his defenses where I just attacked. Attack the other side this time around. The problem he might have is he's only got 1 Viper this time, so he can't abduct so many of these Liberators or Blinding Cloud the tanks.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a problem, and I agree with you, and I think I would have rather seen a little bit of a faster transition into the Greater Spire there for Broodlords, because Cure has been so tank heavy. Cure is sneaking out some Ghosts, but they are expensive and difficult to get out, so we'll see. Serral will take the same angle this time around. Good Blinding Cloud here onto a couple of those tanks. The Ghosts are not going to suffer much from that, as there is Snipe available. The Banelings trying to connect and go after the Ghosts, but not going to be able to connect either. The Corruptors do clear the Liberators, but they don't make enough way for Serral to really cave in there and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that was a really good trade for Cure. Once again, still about 8,000 resources ahead. It's just now he starts to think, man, I need a 5th base, and it's tempting. It's so tempting to move out there, and it's still not the right thing to do. Like, it still is just add Ghosts, improve your composition, rebuild. And the thing is, he actually shouldn't be building too many command centers. He's trying to build extra orbitals, right, for late game, but he's actually going to run out of minerals. In this game, you have to just be such a bloody saver, man. Every penny pinch, try and get a discount, find some coupons or something. Like, you got to just bargain hunt as the Terran. Oh, he should have picked up.
Oh, yeah, the Corruptors are going to look for a punish, but the Medivacs are clumped up enough from Cure that it's going to be very difficult to identify the ones that are loaded to target fire. And now here comes the Greater Spire, but Serral had to wait for the +1 air attack upgrade before really transitioning into that. Neural Parasite also coming in for Serral. We know that he likes to burrow Infestors, he likes to be sneaky with those, and if he can catch one of the Ghosts, he will go for a massive EMP. And that could really turn the game.
Come on, Cure, hanging on from behind, fighting his heart out. He's got a few Thors out now. Oh no, he actually cancelled his Thors and went back to tanks. Oh no. Greatest Spire is on the way. Make Thors, bro. A couple Thors would be really, definitely the thing you want. He's only got 4 Vikings as well. I think he keeps seeing the Ultra Zergling Baneling and going, oh, you're just remaxing on that. And he hasn't identified that it is, in fact, an Infested Broodlord transition now starting.
Yeah, he doesn't have a massive bank either, right? Ghosts are very expensive, but that is definitely what he would want. He is adding some Vikings here and there. There is a PF here. Finally for Cure, but this is a ton of Banelings looking to collapse onto it. They're just gonna run that right next to it, and then the tanks will do the job for them. The Banelings will find a lot of SCVs to connect onto, but don't really trade for the army. This could be an opportunity for Cure to maybe go on a counter offense, but Serral's already re-maxed, so yeah, I don't know. It just feels like,
112
it just feels
Zerglings,
like you're
mate.
dead. Yeah.
Endless lava. And the thing is, Serral is mining the top corner with 19 workers, the bottom left corner with 16 drones. I have watched
Jeez.
so many games like this where the Terran, the Protoss, whoever is just in survival mode, and the Zerg just sits there. And
Yeah.
he's like, yep, just going to mine out my first 5 bases. And it's like, dude, you can always protect those bases. These corners, if Cure ends up winning a fight really well, he's going to be able to deny them.
That's so sad. He didn't spot the circling on that scan, so had to scan a second time there for it.
Oof.
The Infestor is in position there to looking for those ghosts, no doubt. He has found a position where there is not a turret yet. And here, oh, he's gonna bait the ghosts out, perhaps with these Corruptors. That's brilliant. Here come the ghosts, and that's what Serral's looking for the Neural Parasite onto them. Oh, gets it! Does he get the MP? He does! What a god!
Man.
Those Corruptors were there to bait the ghosts. I mean, ghosts are the best response to those Corruptors with the snipe. So that was absolutely brilliant for Serral. And now after EMPing a lot of those ghosts, he's gonna go in and he's gonna look for the fight. Just brilliant tactics from the GOAT as he continues to swarm in and says, Cure, this my game, this our clan war.
Yep, it absolutely is, mate. Serral there, just looking fantastic. It was a very aggressive, momentum-focused build from Cure. But this is the thing that Serral he's got superpowers against, man. So many players would, in that scenario, just be like, yeah, all right, I need at least 60 drones. Surely, come on, man. I'm Zerg, I gotta be ahead on economy. Serral's like, 53 workers, it's all I need all day, every day, man. Just keep making Ling Bane, wait for Bane speed, set up the surround as well. The Queens he must have used 35 transfuses just to hold back those Marines. Really beautiful play by Serral, and that's why he's the beast on these small maps, dude.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant maneuvering there from the GOAT. And he does it. I mean, yeah, we win the clan war. Pressure's off. This was an important one. And I can't believe he's done this. Still a match to go.
Indeed, we do still have one more match. Of course, we've got to play them all out and get some more points on the board regardless. But unfortunate turn of events for my team as things aren't working out quite as cleanly as we wanted them to. But you know what? It's never too late. We can have a slow start, and everybody loves watching those underdogs crawl back from the bottom of the ladder, which I think after this series is what we're going to be. The War Pigs are going to be 1 win and 3 losses. Narrow defeat to Fear Dragon earlier today after being up 2-0. It was very unfortunate. Speaking of which, you're going to be playing Fear Dragon later today as well.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the lineup you got?
No, not really. I feel like that's a 3-2 either way. And yeah, I mean, I look at the lineups and, it could very well go his way. Like, I didn't like either of my lineups for this week, and maybe it's because we just didn't have Pride of Altaris. Like, the maps just don't feel amazing, but DNS coming in clutch there, I think, really made this one winnable for us. And I mean, this one should be slightly in your favor, but at this point, it's already been done, right? And
oh yeah, I think your lineup versus Fear Dragon, I'm looking at it now, is actually like really bad for you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's like literally really, really good for him. I mean, we've seen so many surprises. Things don't always go as expected, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, oh, you've got your number 1, his number 5.
Yep.
Your number 3, his number 1. Like, yeah, that's a couple of really nasty matchups in there, man.
Yeah, it really is. And then, like Astrea, his number 2 against Armani, who has been performing really well. Neep versus DNS doesn't feel like it's going to be, the best. But I mean, these are all matches where we have chances, but maybe slightly favor him, right? And then there's Shaun versus Bunny, which is like my number 2, who's really been performing like as the hitman, but against Shaun, Shaun has been doing amazing in particular in this matchup as well. So, and that's like Gravi's like 4th pick for some reason, or like 3rd pick. I don't know how he got to be picked that late. I think it's his 4th pick, right? Which is insane.
Yeah, I think the 4th. Yeah, it was one of those things where the thing is, I was looking at Zaun in the rankings. I think we were all looking at like his current rating and form, and we're like, we know Zaun can be amazing, but his form is just not great recently, right? Like his rating was way down on the Ligulac, and yeah, it's kind of one of those things. You're like, oh man, damn it. It's like you want to grab him, but you're not quite sure. Sure, everyone's kicking themselves for not grabbing Hero. Hero's rating is just soaring. He's killing everybody in every tournament. He's won his last like 3 matches versus Rogue, his last 2 or 3 matches versus Dark. He slayed like 15 Terrans in a row, including Cure and Dream back to back. Like, yeah, I think we're all looking at Hero and like, oh, he should have been like one of the first 5 players picked in the league, and yet he was picked quite a bit later than that. So hindsight is 2020, of course.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, Hero is one of those players that always had the potential. He was one of the best before he retired or before he went to the military, and I just didn't expect him to get back on form as quickly as he has been. But yeah, he's quite the pickup for Nate there. And yeah, I mean, we are now
Zero fear player, man.
Zero fear.
I actually want Nate's team to win the whole thing. If it's not going to be me, obviously I want my team to win, but if it's not me, I want Nate's team. I've been saying, like, it's just actually the funnest team lineup. The most creative, unique players. Like, every one of them has their own flair. It's not a Terran player, a Protoss player, another Terran player. They're all weirdos. Like, they all just play the StarCraft, that unique, weird style. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he picked, and that's what he picked for as well, right? So there's kind of like some vindication if he does really well or even wins in just having fun and picking for that, and maybe he gets rewarded for it, and that would be a cool story in itself. Because yeah, I don't think Nate picked to win. I think he picked to have fun, and yeah, he ended up with an insane team anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. It's cool to see. All right, well, guys, the wait is over. We've got that countdown going right now on the Korean server. It's going to be Armani versus Dream on Hardwire. I think Dream is a favorite player on paper, but Hardwire is quite a good map for Zerg. You know, it's a nice big map, and very hard to finish off a Zerg player on here. That being said, late game, I would say it maybe switches in the other direction because the map is a little narrow with some nice cliffs and ledges and choke points, areas where the Terran range advantage comes into play in a big way.
It certainly can. It certainly can. For that same reason, though, the narrowness of the map makes it a little bit more difficult for Terran to sneak in with drops and the likes, as on larger, more wide open maps. So there's definitely pros and cons to either one, but yeah, we're loaded in.
All right, down here in the bottom left side, representing the War Pigs, we have a Dream, and this is him, the Pink Terran, very creative player who has come back in the last 3 or 4 years in a big way, and he's fighting for us here.
And for Kwandong Freaks and Gold on the Gang, it is Armani. He's been doing really well, actually. Like, he lost his first match, but hasn't lost since. And he's been playing quite impressive. Oh my god! I love this. I absolutely love this. Oh, I don't love this. Okay, I thought he was going for a hatch first here. I mean, this is cool, right? Like, he's just scouting for proxy, but the direction of the drone made me think that he was going for a hatch first, anticipating that there would be an SCV scout, and then go like, something like 3 hatch before pull or something like that. Or because if there is an SCV scout, a lot of the time what Terran does is they'll just scout the natural and then back away and then keep the Reaper back at home, right? So this is a trick that I've only seen once. I used it against Bolt and it worked once, and that was that was the only time I've seen it. So
yeah, it's actually really cool. So just to clarify for anyone, if you're not quite following, it's like the first hatchery is taken on the third, and because you go 3 hatch before pool, the hatchery on the natural looks like it's spawning pool 16, 18 hatch, something like that, like a real standard pool first build order. They're like, oh, just got to watch for Zerglings coming across the map, and it's obviously something where the Reaper wants to dive across that map and kill a few drones versus 3 hatchery before pool, but not that mind game, unfortunately for you. It is going to be a very quick command center, though. Command center first, up against a drone scout for the proxy barracks. It's the power of Dream. Dream's an unpredictable player. Hopefully Crank gets some translation in there. Fingers crossed, we'll see. But yeah, basically, if anyone in chat knows as well, Chatland, shout it out as well. But basically, Dream proxy rexes a lot. He command center first a lot. He plays 3CC. He mixes it up. Don't try BC mech if you don't want to be wrecked by swarm hosts. Wow.
That's pretty funny. All right, well, that is some confident words out of Armani. Of course, these two are friends as well, and the pressure's up for both of them in a certain way, as the fate of this one has already been dictated. Armani is gonna go for his third expansion now. Dream is going for mech.
So I would have said that as well, and I did say it yesterday when casting the Zombie Grub. I think it might have been the same opening, I'm not sure, but he actually went 2 factory Blue Flame into Biomine.
Ooh.
So yeah, so this might be the same build order. And a lot of, I mean, no one's really playing OV speed right now. So it's very hard to scout this if you don't play Overlord speed, because he's got a Marine, he's building a second Marine. Overlord's above the natural right now. I wonder, does he float the barracks? Because if he can get rid of the Overlord, so Armani doesn't even see the Hellions move out, then that'll be massive.
All right, we'll see. I mean, the second factory is hidden here. We are expecting a tech lab in any case. There's not really anything else to be made from that. There is a second tech lab now from the barracks, so maybe you're onto something here, as that's most likely going to be just for Stim, right? I don't think he wants 2 tech labs on factories right now.
No, it looks like it. Definitely going to be that sort of transition. I would expect a lot of Hellion production coming in. They are very mineral heavy. Blue Flame does go down. Dream, he loves this Blue Flame opening. Now, Armani, the dream is, you know, he's just like blindly building some Banes or some Roaches or something to block it. And you're already looking at Hardwire, and you are thinking about mech as a big possibility. I mean, there's a reason Armani said that in the chat at the start. It's like BC mech, really popular on this map. Dream is a purveyor of mech. He's not as good as Maru. No one is. People say it's, you know, kind of dicey if it's not Maru playing it, but Dream has definitely won a lot of big matches with mech on these big maps.
Yeah, no doubt. And Armani, of course, would be aware. I mean, these two probably play each other on the ladder quite a bit as well. So Dream, we'll see if he plays the mind game on Armani here, because there's also a good chance that Armani, would have watched Dream play against their last opponent and, you know, adapts to what happened there.
Spores going down, definitely don't need those when there's no starport even built. But this is one of the things that goes in your way if they don't know what's happening, and those Hellions are all diving across the map. I don't see any Banelings morphing. He didn't notice it. I think he was morphing an Overseer at that time, which is why he didn't notice it, or he somehow didn't see. The Hellions are going to dive in. They do split up. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not. Blue Flame's not quite done.
Yeah, and all the drones are going to go towards the mid-grinder on the other side. The Banelings, though, all connect onto the Hellions. 15 drones go down, but I mean, those Banelings got the best hits that they were ever going to get.
Yeah, they did end up getting pretty good hits. The biotransition is underway behind this, sending home some of the weak Hellions to heal. The Hellions are still a bit of a problem for Zerglings to deal with. He's not looking to dive the drones. He just wants to kill the Zerglings, and then maybe that'll open up the drones. As a result, he's doing great damage, 2 bases at once right now. This is huge.
Yeah, Armani's going to evacuate his third smartly and just focus on defending the natural base here. He loses an additional 8 workers, though, to put him at 41 against Dream's 48. The only saving grace for Armani is that Dream doesn't have yet a third CC situation. Actually, he does.
It's floating out. It's floating out. Up 8 workers right now and getting massive damage done with this. Dream's going to swap his starport over onto that reactor. 4th and 5th barracks going down. He's going to build a reactor on a factory as well. Because guess what? It's going to be Widow Mines, Drilling Claws, and all that stuff will come in soon as well. You know, it's going to be a very powerful push around 7 minutes, probably 8 minutes, I guess, is when he really starts pushing with Widow Mines. But even before then, he should have a double Medevac Marine heading across in about 30 seconds time. Hellions with Blue Flames still in very sizable numbers as well. And you're just playing Lingbane Queen. You got 11 Zerglings, 7 Queens. I mean, these Hellions actually could just run in and do massive damage.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for Armani. He is trying to situate his 4th now, trying to fight for whatever creeps he can get. His one saving grace perhaps is that Baneling speed is finishing for this next incoming attack. We'll see if that's going to be enough, though, as I mean...
Yeah, I just lost you, Cat, so I'll take over for a second as... Oh! Okay, looks like Cat's internet. I was like, oh god, am I breaking at the same time? So guys, we are just gonna go. Say it with me, everybody in chat. Chill! Get out! Emil! Hopefully Cats will come back in a moment. Of course, memes about disconnecting casters aside. Battle.net doesn't like us. Yesterday, the Korean server, of course, basically was lagging me like crazy. Despite my internet being perfect, this time it looks like a straight up disconnect, as CatZ is, of course, simultaneously disconnected from Discord and all the rest. And yeah, we're just going to be, of course, hanging out in here. You didn't expect Hellions, huh? Said Crank. Nope, annoying. I was going to play Roaches. Oh, man. Armani's like, nah, let's not play Roaches this game. That'll be silly. And Dream's like, yep, pretty happy you didn't play Roaches, dude. And Dream actually says, I think Terran would still be fine even if you do roaches. Armani's like, get out of here. No way. Roaches would shut that shit down. Of course, it is a big if. The Hellions can still always dart around the edges. I find sometimes it's surprising how much damage they do. Other times it's like the roaches completely shut them out. Either way, guys, they're going to drop CatZ in a moment. We'll have him rejoin us. And now that he's gone, can we all just talk for a moment about how CatZ is literally the giantest douchebag? I mean, seriously, what an ass. Anyways, all right, come on, Dream. Get another point on the board for the War Pigs. Losing 3-2, not as painful as losing 4-1. Hellions darting in on the left side again as well. And, Wardy, yeah, sure, you could co-cast. Up to you, bro. I mean, I'm happy to cast on my own. Well, I don't really like talking to other humans, but I guess.
But, you know, my team just keeps losing, so this might be my best chance to trash talk someone.
But the thing, you got nothing on the line. You can just shit talk both players, can't you?
Yeah, you know, you make a bad play, I just shit on that, shit on this. You know, just as we want.
That's the way to do it. It's the Casters Civil War. The logo is like that for a reason, right?
keyboard whacking faces, mouses around necks. Yeah. How it's meant to be.
To be fair, I always see you as a bit more less direct though, Wardy. You know, you're a bit more sly. You're the guy who just sneakily you like spit in someone's mouse laser on the bottom and stuff, and the mouse sensor, like when they're not at their desk. You know, maybe you take their. You know, you take a look around, and we've seen a lot of big disruptor shots today. Maybe you do a cheeky teabag on their keyboard while they're AFK. I'm just saying, you know, I think you're a little nasty once you've decided someone's your enemy. You don't play fair.
Yeah, I just have to pick my enemies wisely, that's all, you know. Can't stop beating up on the people that can beat me back, you know. That's my strategy.
Ooh, good spreadies from Armani. No Widowmine shots really getting off. Of course, I mean, 3 Bailings for each Widowmine is not directly cost efficient, but it's better than taking big hits. Hellbat's trying to just tank here. Dream trying to be annoying and pick away at him. It's these isolated little engagements where he wants big hits, doesn't really find them. Once again, Widowmine's getting cleaned up. The problem for Armani is that there is a never-ending stream of them coming out of Dream's production. Dream, of course, has a 4th up on location, 2-2, and he's just going to keep on sending these sort of squads across the map.
Yeah, these sort of squads are just so annoying, especially when Armani's just, you know, playing from behind. So, Dream, you know, you keep up these trades, you're pushing back the troop spread a bit, you're basically going to have Armani contained a little bit on these 4 bases he currently has. And if you just keep that up, you know, this continues to go well for you, you trade well, and Armani's going to try and sneak into Hive Tech, but I'm not sure if it'll do too well for him.
It's always hard in this spot because you're like, I kind of want to have 100 drone Ling Bane of 8 hatcheries, I kind of want lurkers out or ultras, but the Terran's not going to give you a lot of room, and you kind of just have to choose an option and go for it. And Armani's going to try and weather the storm, but the Marine Mine coming in relentlessly. Hydras are now out. That does stop him from being as annoying with those Widow Mines. 5th Command Center SCV does get taken out temporarily, but of course, Dream will continue forwards across the map. Hydras trying to chase him, not quite getting on top. And these are Hydras with Groove Spines first, not Augment. So that's interesting. Not getting the mobility, he's got the extra range.
Yeah, a little bit more defensive, I suppose, right? If you've already got the creep and defending, you kind of want that range a little more. As you see, top left gets denied, the middle gonna get denied. I mean, Dream still is just splitting up his arm. He's got 3 different portions of an attack going. Just isn't breaking through anywhere. So good defense from Armani, but he's not really taking any trades to bring him back in because Dream isn't losing too much. And if he is losing stuff, he's trading out as the Widow Mine gets a few drones as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dream is being very annoying. It's kind of funny because it's like when we watched Clem Lambo earlier, and it was this power overwhelming, so much good micro in every situation. It always comes off as a little sloppier when Dream's doing it, just because he doesn't have that same level of mechanics. But he actually does more than Clem. Like, he actually does. He forces the situation to be sloppy, kind of like what Special does a lot as well, where it's like, I'm not going to micro this perfectly, but you're going to make a lot of screw ups. Like, there's an amount of pressure that just totally messes with you.
Damon's actually connecting to the top left, and Dream only just gets a few Marines away. Still pushing the center. I mean, these lurkers are about to be morphed in. He'd love to get on top of them as they've finished, and this is actually, I mean, a great time to jump on them because they're not burrowed, they're finished, so they don't get the money back for cancelling. Dream's going to get 3 of those lurkers, so that's actually a pretty great catch from him. Just slows down that transition of Armani, which can obviously become kind of game-ending, right? If you kind of let those lurkers get up, sometimes that can just be a little bit too much to deal with.
Bit of a cheeky F2 to defend that 5th base for Dream. You can see every single piece of his army is now returning home. Ghost transition is well underway, and he's swapped, of course. He's got a third factory with a tech lab. So he can build 2 tanks, 2 Widow Mines at a time, and is up to 8 barracks, which means 4 ghosts at a time. So there's a lot of anti-lurker capability while still keeping the ability to build Widow Mines if Armani swaps back into just pure Lingbane Hydra. We know a lot of people do that because you get mass tank and ghost, and it's like this amazing anti-lurker army. And at that point, the Zerg's like, hey, let's just go pure Lingbane with a few Hydras, maybe a Viper or 2, and just stay mobile and try to like catch you out of position because your army's going to be spread across many areas.
Test, can you hear me? Okay.
Hey, he's back.
Yeah, I'm watching the Wardy stream here. Unfortunately, my PC crashed, and then my internet wasn't working either, but it seems to be good now. It seems like Armani stabilized, which is amazing to some degree, at least. I thought he would be dead by now.
Yeah, Dream was a little wasteful in some of the small fights where, like, if just one of those, he got like a good Widow Mine hit or microed his Marines a little better, it might have spiraled to that point where the Zerg just doesn't have enough, and there's like 10 Marines in a corner just killing everything that comes their way. Didn't quite get it, and he's getting to late game, and that's always the problem with Hardwire. You know, an early advantage is hard to capitalize on these giant maps. Now, you've got a lot of command centers, you've got mass orbitals. It's going to come down to who's better in the late game, but it doesn't feel as doomed for Armani as it did after the initial Blue Flame damage.
Yeah, for sure. It looks decent for Armani. Now, Armani is usually a more aggressive player than most Zergs, but the same could be said for Dream to some degree, so it's going to be interesting to see these two duke it out in the late game, as Armani is going to get a little bit of a run by. I absolutely love this. I was actually talking to Lambo about this. Like, I don't see any reason when you have Burrow, just do the run-bys and burrow like a few links. I usually like to burrow like 4 or something because it's always going to be cost efficient, right? Like, even if you just force out a scan, that's good for you.
Absolutely. I mean, and the thing is, he's going to wait until there's other things going on to use it.
Yeah.
Dropping the main does get cleaned up here. You know, it's forcing Armani to scramble, but Armani is not getting panicked. He's playing very well so far. And Nidus Worm's coming up as well. I do like that there's turrets on the edge for Dream, so making it hard for those to cross over. The Lings will unburrow, get a few SCVs, bit of a disruption, but Dream is nearby. Worst case scenario is when the Terran's like fully maxed and his army's actually pushing, and he just does nothing popping out at home to defend. But not going to be the case this time. He does still have a reserve of Zerglings on the right side, though, that Armani can unburrow at just about any moment.
Yeah, and that's gonna give a Dream a little bit less of a heads up. He thinks that he is well covered and well spotting for any run-bys and the likes, but Armani's already inside, so that is beautiful, and he just has to bide his time and search for the right opportunity to use those. Now it's going to be the time that he chooses to go for it. Goes for the turret first, and that's going to allow for extra burrow if he wants it, and Nidus in the main as well, as Wardy catches all of the action here.
Nidus in the main base. Oh no, it's going to get up. This is a big problem for Dream. Armani actually is the one with the bigger bank right now, at least in terms of minerals. 5 lurkers on the high ground, going to obliterate some of those SCVs. Accidental unburrow there. Dream is actually pushing through the middle of the map. He's got to go home to defend this, and he will do so. And the ghosts are going to be the answer to that, but already lots of SCVs and some production going down.
Yeah, this looks okay, as both players are dipping a little bit in supply. The Nidus in the main doesn't seem to have too many dire consequences here for Dream, however, as Armani's... Oh, actually, there's 2 lurkers, but that's not going to be enough. I wish that those were a few more. Is there not enough lurkers out for him to have reinforced that, I guess?
I guess it's often, you know the Terran's coming, and it can be a one-way trip, so it's scary to pop more lurkers out, and then maybe a Nidus goes down, or they all get sniped when you're not looking. So I understand Armani being a little more cautious there. Feels like he wanted to just take the good trade, and now he's just going to do a lurker run by on the left side. But a planetary, turrets, Widow Mine tank should be easily defended by Dream.
It should be. Let's see if he's able to, as there's one lurker burrowed here just being annoying. Armani trying to break some of those rocks. That's going to make it easier for the pathing of Zerg, but actually gives up on that endeavor for the time being. Double Spire now going down for Armani, looking to transition further into perhaps Britlords.
Ooh, command center snipe in the bottom right. Very nicely done by Armani. No cancel, and Dream is at 7 orbitals right now, so that's a pretty nice count. It's basically what we'd call the Iron Bank. It's where you've got almost unlimited mules and scans, gives you vision against the lurkers, but also, eventually you could throw SCVs away. You don't really care about losing a handful of SCVs at this point as Dream. 64 is a decent count, allows you to have a very large army. Big push down the left side, but scans, ooh, a little slow on the scans, so some of those snipes got interrupted.
Yeah, and that's really good. As another CC might fall here without being lifted up, so really nice job from Armani. I seem to be lagging a couple of seconds behind as well, judging from your commentary, so probably you saw that a little bit earlier than I. Now the lurkers are going to be on the retreat here, and look to take shelter up the high ground, but Armani's dipped kind of heavily in supply here. 52 Zerglings in production, though.
Yep, this is definitely going to be that bank getting worn down over time. I mean, the units lost tab tells a story, 16,500 to 30,000, almost 2 to 1 in favor of Dream. And he's just counter pushing now. So many tanks, so many ghosts. One lurker comes in for the run by Unsiege tanks, easily able to dispatch of that. Army on the front still looking powerful. 21 ghosts. Dude, that is so scary.
Extremely scary. That is a lot of ghosts indeed. I mean, Banelings do not trade well against ghosts. It seems like, you know, they're kind of like, they look like a little bit like Marines, even with less armor. And you would think that the Banelings would shred through those, but they just don't. They do tend to clump up, however, so maybe Armani can muster a defense here, but it's not looking likely as Dream continues to push on forward.
Desperation Ling Run by does get blocked. Dream quick on the draw, raises the wall, and he's still denying 2 bases on the front. I love that he's sniping Banes, Hydras, like anything he can get his hands on. His ghosts did go a little far forward, but you can see that without Banelings on top of them, they actually do really well just stutter stepping versus Zerglings.
Yeah, there's no real good punish here on the side of Dream, and now they're gonna retreat onto the safety of that very deep tank line that he has. And now, yeah, that's gonna be it. Dream is gonna take a map for you guys, and Pig, I gotta say, man, I looked at your team and I was like, man, Pig's team really, really impressive, really powerful, gonna be difficult to beat. Even like when we were consulting like about like this clan war, we were like trying to figure out the lineup, and Lambo asked Serral, like, Juno, what do you think about versus Pig's team? And he didn't even comment on the lineup. He said that's gonna be very, very hard. But we got him. Houston, we got him.
Indeed, dude. Man, this is a bit of a heartbreaking day for the War Pigs, dude. Up 2-0 on 5 Shades of Protoss.